Say this Gamerman here. It is roughly about 11 o'clock at night. I need to get this video made, so it's going to be very brief, very quick, but you may notice I'm sitting in the same location as I was prior, where I was sitting maintaining and fixing this locomotive up. This is Gamerman's 8441. This is the engine mascot of the channel. There is a new mascot, and I will do a review on that locomotive later, but right now we're going to focus on this beautiful baby here. Now, the 8441 was an idea I've been holding on to for years since I've gotten the Gamerman channel. I've always wanted my own custom locomotive. I've been looking all over the internet, all over the world, all over the US, constantly trying to find what they call a unlettered locomotive, and this was an unlettered engine, but as you can see from back here and in several runs with the lights on, this is no longer an unlettered engine. It does have, in fact, the 8441 numbering on it. This engine is known as a 282 Mikado, and we're going to get into what a 282 Mikado is right now. Okay, so a 282 Mikado is basically the workhorse of the railroads between the 1920s and the early 1960s. There were very few Mikados in the early 1960s. Most of the Mikados were whittled out by the 1950s. But these were the workhorses. All of these, every single Mikado that was built, and there were over 2,000 Mikados built, from what my research says. So there were a lot of these engines, and most of them didn't make it. Only a handful of Mikados have made it. Several Mikados you may have heard of are the 4501. You may have heard of the Mikado 8414 or 8419, which is a Chinese Mikado here in Boone, where I live. You now can hear of the 8441, which was not a real Mikado, but there are several Mikados all around the world. Some are in museums, some are still operating to this day, and sadly, most were scrapped. Briefly talking about what a Mikado and 282 means. 282 stands for the wheel arrangement, so you got 2 wheels in front, 8 drive wheels, and 2 wheels under the firebox and cab. And Mikado, I don't quite know why they're called Mikados, so people bear with me why it's called a Mikado. I still need to research that, but these are beautiful locomotives. Now, talking about this engine in particular, like I said, this locomotive was bought brand new, so I've been constantly running on my layout, breaking in the bearings, and seeing what it can do with not scaled train cars. Now, what that means is I don't have weight to them, so they're not really scaled, they're just plastic, so this thing's pulling like maybe 7, 8, 10 cars. It can kind of pull the other engine that I have, the 7802, but it sort of struggles to pull the 7802, because 7802 is a dummy engine. We'll talk about that later. But we're going to go over some of the details of this engine right now. So, obviously, the first detail you can see straight up in your face is the headlamp right here and the coupler, the front of the locomotive right here. I'm not going to try and move the camera too much. I'll move it back in a bit. But you can see here that there is a swinging bell. It doesn't swing very well, but it's still there. All of this lighting right here lights up. The number boards will light up, and this little section will light up. This coupler up here, which you can see, this coupler is a functioning coupler. I can't hook stuff to it, but it does fight me on it severely. These little bars here that you can see right here that I am lifting up very delicately, these are coupler cut bars. These are what are used to basically disconnect or connect to different locomotives. Moving up, you can see that we have this beautiful shiny front wheel next to these beautiful pistons. There are no builder's plates on this engine. If you look here, there are no builder's plates because this engine is unlettered, so it will not be under any sort of name. Moving up, I already showed the bell off, but behind the bell is this beautiful, beautifully detailed dynamo next to the smokestack. Behind the smokestack, moving down, you can see this beautiful separately applied handrail next to the sand dome. The sand dome keeps sand, and gravity feeds it in front of the wheels so the engine can grab traction. Moving back, you can see this whistle right here that I am trying to indicate, along with these beautifully hand-painted, I believe hand-painted pop-off valves attached to the steam dome. There's also beautiful pipe work along the boiler, but all of it is cast in, which means it is added directly to the body. Separately applied is kind of the exact opposite of that. Looking at all of this running gear here, I'm going to switch hands here. Looking at all of this running gear, you have a beautiful, beautiful set of very shiny, I'm going to say silver running gear. It's probably not actually silver. It's probably just some plastic, but it is a very well built running gear. Moving on backwards, we're going to take a look at the cab. The cab does not have numbers on it because I couldn't find any stickers that were small enough to fit underneath this cab window here. I'm planning on maybe adding lettering here instead, because the lettering is a little smaller than the numbers are. And I'm just messing with the numbers here. And of course you can see this beautiful tender, which we will get to right now. Moving back to this tender, I know it's not a very good angle, but it's the best I'm going to get. You can see that I personally applied the stickers of 8441 to the tender. Behind the stickers, you can see that there is some built-in rivet detailing of the tender, which is very, very nice. You can see behind the tender here, you can see this nice separately applied handrail to the ladder that is behind here, which is also separately applied. Above the tender, you can just barely see it. I'm not going to lift the camera, but you can just barely see that there is a water hatch here to fill water into the tender. And you can also see that there's some cast-in coal up on the top of the locomotive. Flipping the engine to the other side, there's basically the same amount of detailing, but it is a little different because these stickers over here need constant attention. A couple questions I was immediately asked while a friend of mine was over here looking at the engine, and I've showed several people this locomotive. They've wondered where this locomotive came from. This is a Broadway Limited's import USRA 282 Mikado unlettered black. USRA is United States Railroad Administration, for anyone who's curious. And this locomotive requires something that my other engines don't. When running a Broadway Limited, especially this one, I've learned, it requires oil. Now, some people question me like, well, why would it need oil? Wouldn't it have roller bearings? It doesn't. It just has regular bearings. Now, in some places it has roller bearings, but these rods that you see here, all of this stuff is plastic rods, and the bearings are made of metal. So running this thing at high speeds, the bearings will get hot, and it will melt the rods and potentially either jam the engine or cause it to derail, or worse, it could jam the motor and blow the motor. So I'd recommend going to the store. I'm not going to show the brand of this oil, but go buy some sort of lubricant or oil, preferably one that is designed for model engines. Definitely get plastic oil and not like motor oil or something, because you don't want to destroy the plastic. But definitely go and get this, because this has saved me recently, because I thought I broke it, and turns out it just required a little extra lubricant, and the engine was A-okay. And so that is basically it on the 282 Mikado 8441. I won't do a run of the locomotive because you guys have seen me run this thing a lot recently, so there's no real need to show it off operating. If you want to see it operating, go check out the playlist that this video will be attached in, the 8441 playlist. At some point, I will be taking this to a railroad club, and we'll run it on the main line at the railroad club and really see what it can do. Because here at my line, at the Nishina Valley Rocket Railroad, this really doesn't have the capabilities of it. But this is the Nishina Valley Rocket 8441. And that's the road name that I've given it. I'll work on putting the stickers and labels on it soon. But if you guys want to see more of the 8441, or you want me to do something special with the 8441, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to go to bed because at the time of me shooting this video, it is really late. So thank you all so much for sticking around to the end of the video, and hope you enjoy. One last thing before I go. This engine brought a lot of really interesting stuff to the picture, so I'm glad I got a hold of it. But one other thing I wanted to bring up was that there was an announcement I wanted to make. Oh, one of the members of the gamer team, Jacob Pinta, also known as Golden Gamer, I do believe, has graduated from high school. So he is now either going to become a full-time YouTuber, or he's going to become a full-time animator, or do both. But I'd like to have comments down below, you know, congratulations to my friend, because he's done that. Also, Union Pacific would like everybody to run through social media somehow #done, because the Transcontinental Railroad got completed a couple days ago, so I don't really do hashtags, but #done, Union Pacific. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been a long review for me, and we'll get another review in as soon as possible. So, love y'all, and hope you really, really enjoyed looking at this beautiful engine I have.